men want traditional women just like you want traditional men. I definitely don't know what a traditional man or woman is, and nor do I have to even follow those. So whatever.
Also, in the same regard, like, why are you trying to open so many locks in the first place if you think that a lock opening up to every key is bad? Like, what? That is so strange.
Well, men and women's sexual strategies are different.
Okay.
Like, men can impregnate 3 women a day. A woman can only get pregnant once a year. Once
yeah.
in
What
9
I'm saying
months,
is that there's a double standard. Like, if you want a woman who has like a low body count or low sexual experience, then like, why are you out here doing the most and like, you know, freaking everything that you can? Like, I just don't get it.
Farting everything you
yeah,
can.
like, I just don't understand. Like, if you, yeah, that's
So
it.
do you think it's hypocritical that, say, for example, a guy who he has a high body count, he would prefer a woman with a low body count? You think it's hypocritical?
I do think that it's hypocritical, and I think it's a little weird.
Okay. What about you? What do you think?
About what? Sorry.
Do you think it's hypocritical if a man has a high body count and wants a woman with a low body count?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Sydney, Kazumi?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone is entitled to their own dating preferences, right? I think it's silly to care about that stuff, but it's also like we just wouldn't date. You know, it's as simple as that.
Okay, so you believe that there's the double standard, though?
I just think it's a little weird. That's it. Because I feel like it's something that a lot of men focus so highly on, and I'm just kind of like, well, you're doing the same thing, so what gives?
So, okay, but I guess my rebuttal to the whole thing, like, oh, it's hypocritical if a guy getting tongue-tied here. You think it's hypocritical if a guy who has a high body count prefers a woman with a low body count?
I just think it's, okay, everyone is entitled to their own preferences, like Kazumi said, but I just think that's a little weird.
To want a low body count, or for a guy with a high body count to want a low body count?
For a guy with a high body count to want someone with a low body count. Hey, if you want somebody with a low body count, then whatever, that's your preference. But if you have like a super high one and you're like, oh, I will only date a person with X amount. First of all, body count doesn't even really matter that much. But for the people
we'll talk about that later.
But for the people that it does... people that it does like matter to, if you want someone with a low body count, then why aren't you practicing what you preach?
Can I say something on that? I think. Oh no.
Well, I'll respond, but make it quick.
Okay. I was just gonna say I think, and I'm not like for either side, but I kind of saw something that I like. I think men have sex for a different reason than women. I think women go for a more of a connection. Not all. I think women go for more of a connection base versus whereas men go more for just like a pleasure base. Some of the time, again, not all of the time, but like I know that women are more of like emotional and like connection based. And so I think that's but that's just something I thought.
So, okay. Do you think that you shouldn't desire something in someone that you yourself do not possess?
Elaborate.
No.
So a guy who has a high body count, he should not desire something in someone else that he himself does not possess, and that being a low body count.
I think you can desire an opposite effect in your partner.
Well, that's what I'm kind of about I'm about to arrive at my point, but I might have stumped you there.
I think you did. Honestly, you did. Because personally, I don't really care too much about body count, so I don't really think about these conversations a lot. But I think it's okay. Okay.
I gotcha.
You did get me.
I gotcha.
You did get me. I will rephrase my statement. A lot of the time when a man is focusing on body count and like a high one or a low one, right? They're like, for instance, that lock example. Oh, you're used, like no one's going to want you, blah, blah, blah. And it comes from a place of shaming. It comes from a place of shaming because there's a difference between a guy saying, oh, I don't want a girl with a low body count, and a difference between saying, oh, I don't want a girl with a low...
Why are you on me, Eric?
And him saying like, oh, I want a girl with a low body count because girls with high body counts are sluts and whores and blah, 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 right? So if he is coming at it from a respectful point of view, then like power to you, bro. But the fact of the matter is that most of these guys are not coming from like a healthy point of view, and that's where the issue lies.
Okay.
Because as first of all, I'm a person, right? I'm not a log, I'm not a cookie, I'm not whatever freaking analogy you want to use me as. I'm a person, and I am allowed to have my own experiences in life, and a lot of those for me have been sexual, and they've been so much fun. And you as a man are allowed to do the exact same thing. But where the issue comes from is like, you as a man, most men are like, oh, you're not allowed to have that because you're used or damaged goods. So it's really the mentality behind it and not the actual sentiment.
Well, I mean, there's a variety of reasons why men think body count matters, but just to address the double standard or the hypocrisy thing, there are things that people desire in a partner that they themselves do not possess. For example, I would say 99% of women, if you asked a girl, do you want a guy who's funny? I would say 99% of women would say, yeah, I like funny guys. Are they funny themselves? Maybe not. So there are a variety of things, men and women, what we find attractive in the partner, there's not a symmetry. There's not always symmetry in what we find attractive. For example, if a woman wants a man who's 6 feet tall, ought she be 6 feet tall too? Right? I've got some more. Many women want a charismatic man, yet they may not necessarily be charismatic themselves.
I get what you're saying.
Many women want a guy who's chivalrous, but they are not chivalrous themselves. Many women want a physically strong man, yet they are not physically strong themselves. So there's an asymmetry in what we want. So I don't necessarily think that it's actually wrong for even a guy who has a high body count to say, I prefer women with a low body count.
Okay, but
because there's asymmetries in what we find attractive.
Okay, but then the opposite can be true. Like, let's say a woman has a high body count and she prefers a man with a low body count. Like,
that's totally fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Totally
I'm not
fine.
saying that he can't do that. I'm just saying I think it's a little weird given the context of which body counts are usually talked about. Personally, I don't care about body count. I think it's dumb to think about it. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't really keep track of, the people that I have connections with like that. But I guess I'm talking to the people who do care about it, right? And again, most of the time, the people who do care about it, it doesn't come from like a healthy place.